Hello and welcome to the Kundalini podcast. That was Zen. This is Now. I'm Vivek Govekar. This is episode 101. So, yesterday I talked about some esoteric meanings of divine forms, deities, and their vehicles, and how that mechanism works the more you do mantras and imbibe certain habits, act on them on a daily basis or a regular basis. Vis-a-vis Kavach mantras, so these are protection armor mantras, alternate nostril breathing, and other forms of pranayama, meditation and mindfulness used practically. So the examples I give tend to be what I have encountered during my 15-year journey through a Kundalini awakening that happened spontaneously. So it's two big milestones for me. One is on August 31st, 2021 was the 15th year anniversary of my Kundalini awakening, and also this year, just the last episode was my 100th episode that I made for this channel, and makes me wonder about my life before, during, and after this process, and it's still just a milestone. It is just a point that I have attained through a lot of practice, through a lot of trial and error, hurt, and pain, suffering, but also some amazingly ecstatic, blissful moments. And that's the combined blessing / burden of this process, especially if it doesn't open up the right way. So I'm talking about practical ways of dealing with the supernatural. I know, it sounds bizarre sometimes, but practical ways of dealing with being an empath, reading minds, coping with skills, but also making the best of it, learning to be in the moment, taking this advanced sensitivity. Now you're more tuned to what does it mean to be cosmic and infinite. You're more tuned to everything that happens. The waves behind me. By the way, this is beautiful Malibu Pier. That's a great restaurant called Malibu Farm. Do come and visit here. Thought I'd make a video here. I take a lot of pictures here, but this is my first time making a video right in front of the pier, and thought I'd give that a try. So, as I was saying, adapting to the good stuff, not just the dark night of the soul and some of the negative aspects that I've spoken about. What do you get at the end result of it? Like I said yesterday in episode 100, you're amazed by the number of mistakes you avoid, the number of negative spirals that you don't descend down, the number of upward spirals and opportunities you do take. How many times you remain silent when you would have reacted or spoken in haste, spoken during an emotional outburst, in anger, in some other emotion, and now you just stay silent in a very calm mood. Your emotions are not agitated as easily. You are in your own ecstatic bliss, which comes from within. Having gotten rid of the whole mechanism of creating a minefield of emotions, past trauma experiences, dictating your next action based on an emotional response. You're several feet away from an emotional response because your emotions are not latching on to every single thought that appears in your mind, no matter how well set up that trigger might be in the past. This time, you're not only immune to it, but saying you're immune to it still involves a response and the fact that there is something going on in the background which is of concern to you. You're not in that world at all. You're in your own universe in the best possible way. The path to that is absorbing excessively repeated patterns that don't serve you well, that your body rejects, and it gives you signs at all times. You got physical pain, you got irritation of, let's say, your throat muscles because you're smoking too many cigarettes, or you're drinking alcohol and now you're feeling extremely lethargic, depressed, or in a bad mood. That means you have to back off from those behaviors. It has gone beyond the point of moderation. In the same way, your mind tells you about places, events, people, and you're more in tune with your vibrations, the vibes, and overall feeling of ease and comfort that you get being around certain events, people, and locations. So that guiding light which is within all of us becomes amplified, and now you're sensitive to everything that's around you. As I said, we are all one soul and there is one oversoul above us, and you start feeling that, sensing that, which requires a modification of previous habits, a change in the scenery around you, the people around you, what you observe, how you assimilate it, and ensure through this process of mindfulness, these filters that you have set up, that this is for your greatest good. And stay away from temptation. It's a combined effect of staying away from temptation, not self-sabotaging, not self-sacrificing, making sure that you succeed, are comfortable, healed. Your self-care is important, your mental health is important, and whatever keeps you away from those things, being healthy, being comfortable, feeling good about yourself, you can easily discard those things. They were not essential. They might be in some fun-looking traps or outer coverings, but may not be the best for you, for your inner growth. And making those decisions for the right reasons becomes very easy and effortless, because all day you make the effort not to latch on to temptation. When you're tested, of course that mechanism kicks in, the muscle memory from something. How do things like training for being a captain of a ship or a pilot, how do those things work? They work when at that moment you have been trained so many times, you have done so many repetitions on a simulator, flight simulator, say, that automatically your brain, your training, and your muscle memory of remembering the instructions all kicks in, and you have the right clues right in front of you. You make the right decisions for the right outcome, so that the plane stays afloat, or the boat or the ship stays afloat or stays in the air. You manage to land it safely, and then you arrive at the normal stage of functioning. Now this alertness, imagine how much of that gets amplified as more of your own mind and its potential is under your own control and not under the control of these patterns of negativity, of self-sabotage or criticism, and constantly ensuring that your success is not going to be at the highest level, and ensuring that some failure creeps in because of self-doubt and hesitation. Now you have managed to rid yourself of the root cause of all of those things. The self-assurance and the calm and the confidence is not bravado. It is ingrained through habit. It is just like that pilot or the ship captain that has grooved in patterns, through protocols, through mechanisms. Having identified what is dangerous, if a plane is veering a certain way, you have hit turbulence, what steps do you need to take after that? All that is happening precisely as it should happen, for the right reason, and the right corrective action gets applied, and the plane stays in the air, stays balanced, so that when you go past the turbulence and you're in safe air again, you can go on autopilot. And that happens through training and protocols. So if we recognize that about these kind of professions, pilot, surgeon, astronaut, we can definitely recognize that about our own mind, its habits, its proclivities, what we program into it, how we act it out on a day-to-day basis, and how unconsciously, by setting up the right habits, the right methods, you don't have to worry about it during a moment of lull. Your automated protocols kick in, bringing you to a state of alertness. You don't absorb the negativity. You act back and respond while in your senses without losing your cool. You go out of the turbulence, which is, emotional chaos, thoughts, anger, other emotions flaring up. You put a calm on it, take your plane through those stormy seas, take your plane or your ship through the stormy seas. I'm mixing metaphors. And when you're at the other side, when it's clear, you go back on autopilot of your regular behavior. None of it has affected you enough that you enact some emotion out, or act in haste, act in anger, anger act in a state of emotional imbalance. You allow the emotional imbalance to go away, equanimity to return, and your mechanisms have kicked in flawlessly because you've trained yourself and practiced for a long time. That is the power of yogic mental mechanics and methods like focus, concentration. I mentioned a method called Tratak, Jyoti Tratak. You stare at a flame, and that's your meditation. A very powerful method for concentration, increasing concentration. One way of meditating. Using mindfulness, using alternate nostril breathing, having a vivid imagination that only brings about the best outcomes in your mind's eye, about the actions you undertake. You start refining the actions that you take, the quality of the words coming out of your mouth, the kind of actions you undertake, the disciplines you have inculcated within you on a day-to-day basis. You are the sum total. You are the acting out of all of that programming that has gone into you. And as I have mentioned before about several subjects, comparison, selfishness, being absorbed in a certain limited form of thinking, not thinking of yourself as something amazing, someone amazing that can accomplish great things, and being your own roadblock. The path to getting out of all of these negative bindings is through a change in mindset, and that mindset has to favor you. And only the people that take the time to practice mantras, meditation, focus on positivity, knowing how important the programming, what you listen to, what you watch, and how it will affect your actions. Is it the best thing for me moving forward, moving into my future? If it's not, am I making the change soon enough? Or am I too attached to things that are bad for me and I cannot rid those habits? Am I being too lazy and not putting in self-discipline for things that I know to be good, that I need to do on a day-to-day basis? All of these questions have to be asked. And once you ask yourself those questions, the answers become obvious. Then it's not a matter of not doing those things. Then that's just your habit. That's just what you do. You do these things as a matter of routine. But you're also alert enough to see when the good effects, when the results start accumulating. Those results will start accumulating the more you put into these efforts towards your own progress, towards a strengthening of yourself in a calm, alert, relaxed way against temptations that lead you into things that are detrimental to your own growth. By and by, you start seeing that you have changed. The person inside you that you are fighting, the sabotaging, roadblock putting personality, that part of you has switched off completely. And you are comfortable being the successful person with your own habits, with your own patterns, with your own discipline. You have attained to a certain level of success. You are happy being that person. You're comfortable being that person, excited about building up on that persona and doing even better with that. I hope that was helpful. This is Vivek Govekar signing off. Please like, subscribe, comment. Peace, love, blessings. Be well.